Hi, everybody. Bob the Tomato here. This is Tim Hodge. He's a director at Big Idea. He is also a really talented artist. Today, he's going to show you how to draw Legolam.
Okay, well, Legolam is played by Jimmy Gord. And Jimmy, remember, is a couple of shapes. He's not a circle like Bob or an oval like Larry. It's kind of a circle and an oval put together. If you have a circle on top and an oval on bottom, so it's like an upside down light bulb shape. And draw light. Remember always to draw light at first until you get your lines just where you want them. Alrighty. Now Jimmy's nose, we're going to draw his nose first. Usually I like to start with the eyes, but today we're going to go with the nose. It's kind of like an oval shape on its side. Think of a watermelon shape. Nice and round and big. Big, fat, wide nose. Alrighty, and his eyes, just Larry's eyes and Bob's eyes are kind of these egg shapes, right beside each other. Just like that. You got that? They're not perfect circles, kind of tall circles. Now Legolam is let's give him a sly expression, okay? So let's draw this one eyelid on this side straight across, just like that. And this other one is raised a little bit, this little kind of curve shape there, like that. Got that? And his eyes are going to be looking over to the side. That one just like that. And just let it touch that eyelid there. Leave a little white spot, that's for the highlight. And his other pupil goes over on that side. So he's looking in the same direction, over kind of that way. Let's make him smiling a little bit sly. Let's put his smile over to the side. Okay, now that's Jimmy Gord pretty well, but remember we've got to put his Legolam costume on him. And let's start off with his hairdo. His hairdo is just combed back. So start off with the big kind of the C shape. It comes down right in the middle of his head. But I'm putting everything a little off center because he's turned to the side just a little. And it comes back over to the side. Now draw light because we're going to put some stuff in front of this in just a moment. And then on this side, just a little curve that curves around behind his head there. Now in front, you remember he had these two kind of braids or pigtails that came down on either side. They're long like this. So these two slightly curved. You don't want it perfectly straight because it's hair. It's bunched up on either end. And right here is a little band around it or some sort of bead. And then the tail part. Now this is fun because this curve is smaller than this one, like that. See? And then it curves back around and it has kind of a point to it. Now this one is mostly, since he's turned, this side is hidden behind his eye a little bit. So we only want to draw mostly that half and make sure it's kind of even. See how the bead on this side is right over here? Make sure it's not too high or not too low because they're the same length. And do the same shape over here. Let's make it curve out too. So he doesn't have two curls curving in. A little curve and a big curve. Then it curves out like that. Got it? Okay. Now here we're not going to see much of the back of his hair because you remember he was wearing these big pointy ears. So let's do an almost straight line. It's a little bit curved up this way until we get to the point. And come down like that. It's almost like a teardrop shape, but it tucks in behind his hair there. And then just a little curve, little couple curves like that to show the inside of his ear. Now we have to do the same thing over here, but kind of backwards, and make sure you don't do it too high or too low. His ears should be about the same. So let's start right behind there. Kind of look where I'm going. Make sure they're the same height. It's a little curved line. And this one should be just a little bit skinnier because it's turned around the other way. You don't see as much of it. See that? When things get turned in space, they look a little different. There. Now, his hair is going to come down behind it, but we don't want to draw all of it because we have to draw his clothes that he's wearing. And you remember he was wearing this green cloak that wrapped around right around his chin there. You can put that right underneath his mouth. It goes all the way around, and right about here he had a clasp on it. It was just a leaf shape. It's kind of like this heart, but it curves at the end like a leaf, and put a little stem on it if you want. Okay, now this cape, let's let it go past the edge of his body here, and to show that it's wrapped around, you put this little half backwards C on this side, and it looks like it's a thick piece of cloth wrapped around him, and then coming out from under here is the bottom of the cloak where it wraps around like that. You can shade that in to show it wraps around. The same thing on this side. It's a little backwards C around the edge of his body. See that? How it makes it feel like it's wrapped around? And it's kind of clasped to the side of him over here, so you have more cape on this side. And then how it goes behind him. And he was wearing this tunic underneath with a belt. So we'll put the belt about right there. Just wrap it around. Not a straight line, a little bit curved because he's round, so everything gets kind of roundy. 2 lines like that for the belt. And you can put I think he had a belt buckle. Let's say he does now. Put a belt buckle there, and then where the bottom of the tunic comes. And then his little tummy peeks out the bottom here. Okay, we're not quite done yet. We look like we're done, but we're not. Remember, he had a bow and arrow. So we're going to draw his bow over here, which is a little complicated, so take your time. It's like this big curve, little curve, little curve, big curve, and little curve like this. And then it's thick in the middle, and it gets narrower near the ends, and then make a little oval that curves around the bottom. It's a little complicated, so take your time. You might have to back up the DVD and do this a couple of times to make sure you get it right. Same thing down here. Just a little oval at the end where it curves around. I think in the show this was actually, it looked like a little bird head or a little duck head or something, but we won't get that complicated. And then the string comes straight line. If you want to get a ruler and draw that, that's okay. I'm going to draw the straightest line I can here. And then he had his little arrow right there. Just 2 straight lines for the shaft part, 2 kind of half ovals for the feathers, and then remember it had a plunger on the end, so a little flat, real flat oval like that, kind of like Larry Boy's plungers. And because these lines all overlap and it kind of looks like it's see-through, let's color his bow in a little darker, and that way it covers up the other lines that we drew. How's that? Of course, he has more arrows than those. We're almost done. Over here on the back side, he had a quiver. Quiver is like a little pouch where you keep your arrows in. Let's do a straight line up from there, from behind his cloak. And it was taller on one end. Just like that. And let's put 2 arrows in it, okay? Again, 2 straight lines for the shaft or the stick part of the arrow. These little half ovals for the feathers. There we go. And I think we're about done. We can darken some of these lines. And what do you think? There you have it. You have your own picture of Jimmy Gord as Legolam the elf. Hope you had fun.